figure it out during the comment
Yeah.
period. Good evening, Easton. Welcome to the Monday, November 25th, 2019, regular meeting of the Town of Easton Planning and Zoning Board. As always, we are going out over at ECAT tonight. And this is going to be a quick meeting, so I don't suggest you get popcorn. Just stay by the television. We're going to do quick hits. So first up, we have two continued public hearings for 58 Mill Street, definitive subdivision plan, Owl Ridge Estates, and 5 Owl Ridge Drive, special permit for an estate lot. We will run the continued public hearings concurrently. The floor is yours. You know the drill.
Good evening, members of the board. I would like to discuss this evening a modification as to what we have previously proposed. As you are certainly very well aware, this project has some serious environmental concerns, and we have had numerous meetings with the Conservation Commission, and after their review of it, they have requested that they have strongly requested that we investigate the possibility of reducing the amount of disturbance within the wetland area that we had proposed. And one of their requests was that we possibly reduce the total width of the paved road surface and possibly eliminate the sidewalk. So I'm here this evening to discuss that with this board, to find out what your thoughts would be along those lines. I have got some sketches prepared that would show what it would look like. I've got the full-size one up here, but I do have some smaller ones to hand out to the members as we go along. What I have proposed is a 22-foot wide paved travelway, 18-inch berm on each side for a total of 25 feet of asphalt, with the elimination of the sidewalk. Again, that is a 22-foot wide travelway. It is being accessed by Mill Street, which is 20 feet of pavement. So our subdivision roadway is still wider than the supporting roadway, and there's no sidewalks or berm on Mill Street. So we're still considerably wider avenue than Mill Street is. This would enable us to shift the roadway to one side as it crosses through the wetlands, and would reduce the amount of impact on the wetlands, the amount of filling of the wetlands, by 870 square feet, which is roughly, round numbers, about a 40% reduction in the wetland disturbance. And of course, to go forward with this type of design, we would be having to obtain from this board a waiver from your regulations that stipulates a wider pavement and sidewalk. And that's what I'm here to discuss this evening with you.
Okay, so to fill in some of the board members, or maybe, so we certainly have, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, but we have precedent, we've done this
Right. The
times
board has been,
previously.
yes. And I think in this instance, as Mr. Ryland pointed out, narrowing that road would be consistent with the Mill Street Road. It might actually be more desirable, in addition to reducing the amount of disturbance in the wetland area. Although it's not a dramatic reduction, you are reducing some of the heat island effect that you'd get from the extra impervious surface. And there is no sidewalk currently along Mill Street, so the sidewalk within the subdivision would only be servicing the subdivision. It was proposed on one side only anyway. So if it were kind of the nature in town that children actually walked from their homes
Wait,
down
hold on,
to
that's
the bus
not
stop.
really, yeah, I mean, I think to say that people don't walk down the road is just really not,
No, I do
Not
think they walk
understanding the
down the
character of
road.
town, no.
I just
Yeah.
think that, if, again, if that might be a consideration, is if children were walking down to the bus stop.
Okay.
However, it's just a 6-lot subdivision, and presumably any traffic coming in there will be slow enough that if people wanted to walk, they would be able to do so safely.
So did this come about, was this like a request of Concom, or is this help meet like thresholds for less?
This came about as a request from the Conservation Commission's consultant, LEC Environmental, in their review of the project, suggested to the Conservation Commission that they would like to see us investigate this possibility.
I have a question.
Certainly.
On the last meeting, you were supposed to get approval by FEMA, right? What happened with that?
FEMA does not move in very fast process. We are in the process of filing with FEMA. Mr. Mills might even be able to bring you up to date a little bit more on that, but the filing with FEMA, and Ms. Danielson is very well aware of this, actually even requires the signature of the town administrator on it as well.
Will this change facilitate FEMA? I will assume.
Excuse me, sir?
Will facilitate FEMA approval, this change, right?
Yeah, we realize we must have FEMA approval prior to finalization of this, because the floodplain line actually is a zoning line that would establish lot area and other items. So yes, we must have that before we can conclude the project.
So if I could provide some clarification, the FEMA is being asked just to confirm the line that's been proposed by the applicant based on the survey and modeling that they have done.
Chicken and the egg.
It's, well, we can get to that. I think the reduction, they're not confirming whether the proposed project is affecting the wetland, the flood area. So they're not confirming that how much storage is being taken up by the development and how much compensatory storage is being proposed, and whether those are equal. What FEMA is doing is reviewing the documentation that's being provided to confirm that the flood zone is where the applicant's engineer proposes it is. One of the questions that came up is, you'll recall that the town's peer reviewer indicated they felt that they should be reviewing the information, the modeling information, just to confirm that they agreed that the wetland line, that the floodplain is where it is, so that the board, if they vote to close the hearing, can vote to issue a permit for work. The applicant has asked that when they get to a point where they're ready to close, if it's before FEMA has confirmed the line, that the board vote contingent that if there are any changes resulting from the FEMA review, that it come back to the board. We feel that it's more timely and more accurate, and we have a better understanding of the project if Woodard and Curran can review that. We understand that it's a concern of the applicant as to cost. In signing off on the letter of map revision application that's sent, it would behoove the town to know that the line is accurate, or the information appears to be accurate, which could be confirmed through Woodard and Curran's review, and we have offered and communicated that the town would pick up the cost of doing that. And again, I think that in the long run, that will save time on the part of the applicant, because if that review's done, then you could comfortably probably close the hearing and get an appropriate permit or approval. All other things being taken into consideration and accounted for.
So, Questions, comments, board members?
Yeah, maybe just seems like right on the, at the throat where the narrow road meets Mill Street, does that, would it be, make it easier to turn in if you just widen that radius? Right on the bottom. On the western, southwestern, right there, yeah. I don't know.
I would have no problem whatsoever widening
I don't know,
that
but
radius.
if you think it would make a difference, I don't really care, but you probably know much better than I do about that.
That would not be a problem at all to
If you think
widen
so,
that
I don't know.
radius.
Just look at it, if you look at it with your design perspective, keep that in mind. And yeah, no, I mean, so I guess if it's either a decision between the developer not being able to build this or not having sidewalks, then sure, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Over here?
I don't know if this makes any sense, but would you ever put a sidewalk on the eastern portion where most of the lots are and just not connected to the street, or is that something we don't really ever do? Kind of a general question.
In order to take advantage of having the narrow pavement, you'll see that we shifted the road considerably to the east.
Yeah.
And in fact, included in your package is a cross-section on the last page. You can see a cross-section of the road. And our current proposal is that the edge of the berm is located 2 feet from the edge of the right-of-way. Again, trying to facilitate as much savings. So there really is no room within that area for the sidewalk.
So there are cart paths in the back of the property that are probably being donated to the town, but that's not recommended that those are open to the public because of wetland implications. That's the gist of what was happening in the back there on lot 3.
Right now, yes, there are some old cart paths out there now. To my knowledge, they're not being used by the public. It is on private property, and I've seen no evidence in the time that I was out there that they've been recently utilized by anyone of the public, or even privately. There's some pretty good sized logs and trees that have fallen over them.
But there have been conversations that would become town land or just open space.
Lot 3 is a buildable lot.
I think it's.
No, but was there some space a lot behind that or something, or not?
I think
I
there'll
think
be
it would
about 8 acres deed to, a conservation restriction.
Okay, so that's behind lot 3.
Yeah, the perimeter, the limit of work, everything on the other side of that will be, a restriction on that.
Oh, I see, right, so behind that straight line, the property line there, yeah.
Yeah, I think on page 2, you can see the orange outline of the limit of work. So basically, everything that's outside of that will have a restriction on it.
Okay.
And I think, Chris, maybe when you asked about the sidewalks, someone asked me recently, well, why do we have sidewalks in our bylaws if we're gonna waive them? And we try not to waive them, but we also think of our charge to maintain Easton's rural character and balance that with development. And as things come up, so I think if Mill Street was sidewalked, or if Mill Street was gonna be sidewalked in our lifetime, which I don't think will probably happen.
I believe it's one of the roads that was exempted under the Complete Streets policy as well because of its rural.
Right. And then, and then in this case, given the environmental factors, and it's only 6 lots. I mean, I think it would be different if it was 56 lots, or so, or if it was, if this was in a different part of town that had a sidewalk network. So given that it's, and I'm assuming the fire department's okay with this width. I mean, we've done it before. They
Well,
want a
that
minimum
would
of
be-
14 feet cleared.
That would be a stipulation. We'd need to seek their comments. However, I mean, I think there's plenty of room for, they're not, 2 vehicles can
They usually
still
want
pass
14
a
feet cleared,
fire.
and I think,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, we've actually done one of these 20 feet. Someone was really tight.
Yeah.
No,
might
And
not, I don't know,
there's
but-
plenty of
Good,
turnaround
good
with the
speed of States, I
cul-de-sac.
believe, is down to like 18 feet or
Is-
so.
Yeah.
Good
so
speed off
it's,
of Center
you know,
Street.
And even here, you know folks are going to park their cars, when the school bus comes, but there'll still be room to come by, and it's 6 houses, so it's, you know, so personally, I feel, okay, I don't think it's a hindrance to safety.
Being new, the question for you, there is character, there is safety, right? And environment.
Well, environment's
and then-
number one, that's what brought it up.
Exactly, so there is priority. So
Yeah.
if environment is affected very adversely by having the sidewalks, absolutely, it will take precedent, I think,
Yeah.
on something like this.
Well, 800
Especially-
square feet, right? So
especially
800
that the
square feet,
others-
Which is like a half a house, or a third of a house. What size of the house is on this, on proposed here? Just put some perspective, what size homes are you proposing? Square foot wise?
TBD,
Yeah?
what the market will
So-
bear, I imagine.
So 3,000 or 4,000 square foot homes and 800 square feet of wetland, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
No comment. I'm not gonna follow that one up.
Yeah, well, you can keep track of the numbers, right? Yeah.
The ratio already is favorable. They want
No.
to make it more favorable, but this is being pushed by the conservation committee, right?
Yeah, and you know, I worry sometimes that I also try to help the process, and we, you know, the makeup of boards changes, the makeup of people politically active in town changes, the makeup of people developing projects changes. But I kind of expressed at the last meeting that, you know, I said, well, why don't you just figure out everything with Concom? You know, remember I said, I understand that Concom has the ability to want to affect lot shapes, but I'd like that stuff worked out as much as we can before it gets to this point, because it's just gonna be a streamlined process for everybody. And I'm a firm believer that the smoother a process is for an applicant, the more we as board members can get for the town, whatever that is. Maybe it's, in this case, maybe it's more conservation space, sometimes it's mitigation, sometimes it is the sidewalk. But this isn't an example, this isn't a developer we've had before, people trying to get rid of sidewalks to save costs. They were asked to bring this before
Right,
us, you
exactly.
know, so anyways. Just two quick questions. So the drainage easement, is that part of lot 1?
Yes.
That's all right, so I was so it makes no sense to change
Our proposal right now is to leave the drainage, everything else exactly
Yeah.
as was previously submitted. In fact, that would give us a little bit of an overkill on the drainage because it was designed for a slightly wider road and sidewalks with more impervious surfaces, so get a little extra safety factor there.
And, and then just curious, so where are you at, this isn't necessarily apropos to why you're here tonight, but where are you at in the process with Concom? Will you be coming in anytime soon, you think, with a final set, or are we a ways, there's still, I know there's the issue Stephanie talked about with,
The flood zone.
the reworking, redelineation, whatever it is, the flood zone. Is that the only,
Well, no, we certainly have other things to work out with the Conservation Commission, this being one of them right now. This is one of the steps that we're trying to address with them, to come up with a design that's a little more in line with what they and their consultant felt was feasible.
Greg, can I ask a question that I didn't think of earlier?
Of course.
Is this road intended to be public or private?
Public.
And so we do want comments from DPW on the reduction in the width, which I don't see as a big problem, but.
That's kind of where I was thinking about, like the road going into the road with a plow truck turning around and the.
Yes,
all that,
yes.
you know.
well, I'm assuming that's we have design standards for that in our subdivision rules and
Right.
regs, I'm assuming
Right,
that's.
it'll still be
And if it isn't, I'm
constructed.
assuming our peer review or our staff will
Yeah.
pick up on that.
Right, it still has to be
So we
constructed.
need to approve a fire department.
Yeah, they will need to as well. I think that will be fine, but
So we won't really take a vote on this, this is just more of a, right, it's just kind of a straw
Right,
poll.
right,
I mean,
this is-
is there
this
anybody
is-
that has objects to this change?
No.
I think that's all they're looking for, so that they're not
Yeah,
going down
That's
the
exactly what we're looking
path
for,
of.
because there is quite a bit of effort that goes into revising all the plans
Sure,
and
no, absolutely.
revising all the designs, and we wanted to get the feel of the board before we went through that process.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can't wait to make you change it all back when you come to us, so.
So, just a suggestion, if you could upload that to Permitize, that concept plan, and we'll send it, Suzanne will send it to the DPW and the fire department for comments on the proposed change.
Would you like us to continue this
Maybe that
public
would-
hearing to December 9th? Can always continue after that.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Second?
Is that okay? Yeah, all right.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, thank you.
Let's do the minutes.
Oh,
read
Mr.
them.
Strange, before you do the minutes, there was an item that was supposed to be on the agenda, and it was inadvertently omitted. It's a notice of intent for 7 Glen Road, and just so that people know that it will be continued to the December 9th
So
meeting.
regarding 7 Glen Road, definitive subdivision plan, Glen Road, number 19-166. On October 30th, the planning board voted to continue to November 25th, 2019. It was not listed on the agenda for the November 25th meeting tonight. Due to a clerical error, it will be continued to December 9th, 2019. And 3 demerits will be issued. That last part's just a joke added by Greg Strange. There you go.
December, right, yeah. December
And
9th.
that requires a vote,
Okay, 9th.
Mr.
That
Chair.
requires a vote?
It does.
19th.
Somebody make a motion, please? Or did you? Did you just do that?
No.
Make a motion to continue to the 29th, to the 9th.
December 9th.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. Boy, you guys are decisive. I like it. All right, back to the minutes. Unless, any more clerical errors I'm gonna be interrupted by? It really ruins my flow. Anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 13th.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes.
Me.
Him. Five Corners zoning. Ms. Danielson.
I just wanted to mention that we did get a preliminary draft from Judy Barrett. Greg and I are going through it. We'll probably have a conference call with Judy just to discuss some preliminary. And then I am talking with Ms. Barrett on the phone tomorrow to set forth the timeline for all the steps that need to take place to get this to town meeting. So Suzanne has already created a schedule backing out from the deadline for which the last hearing can be conducted by the board before voting, or at the time you need to vote. And so again, to make sure we have a very clear path that everyone's in agreement on and we know how to get there.
Sounds good.
And that will include, I'm sorry, that will include, the draft is for the Five Corners, but the timetable with milestones and deliverable dates will include for the Village Business District as well.
What area is included in Five Corners?
I'm sorry?
What area is included with 5 corners?
Actually, I think originally the board was talking just kind of around the general Depot Street area and then expanded it to include the whole stretch from Highland Plaza or Robert Drive to
Yeah.
Bay Road.
Yeah, a little west, right? Yeah, a little west of Highland Plaza where Target is,
Just, yeah.
to a little east of,
Right.
of Five Corners,
Yeah.
yeah. But when we look, we'll have a chance to,
Is it
We'll look
going
at
all
that
the way
again.
to Eastman, to the entrance to the mall there? Or not?
the entrance
Yes.
to what?
Yes?
Yes,
Entrance to what?
just past Eastman,
past
where it becomes
Oh,
Eastman.
yeah,
Because it
yeah.
actually becomes Eastman Street after Robert Drive.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with.
Speaking of that area, does anybody know, I'm assuming they held their hearing at the proposed
Haven't.
gas station.
They voted it down.
Put it down. I forgot to look that up.
On Old Foundry right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need more than 4 gas stations in this town.
In like the same block.
Chairs report.
Well, actually, we have 5.
Our annual holiday soiree will be happening December 9th. Location TBD. You don't have to wear any ugly Christmas sweaters. Holiday sweaters. Just don't wear anything ugly. We might be seen in public. All right. And if you didn't sign,
Also,
I think we have some stuff to sign at the end. If you haven't signed, just make sure you do that. So we have a ZBA request for comments. I think Rob's the only one that has to sign, right?
he signed.
Oh,
And
did
that
he?
is-
Everyone's got it.
Very sneaky when they sign. Request for comment is variance 19-17, 105 Depot Street for an additional sign at the property with the,
This is the picture that shows the additional sign the best. I know you're looking for it.
where is it? At the Washington Depot. Oh, that's the sign in front of the building.
Yeah. Dirty paws.
I don't have it.
Seems fine to me. It's not in a bad location. I get it. They have multiple buildings. If it was in a, if it was like a large plaza in town that seems to just keep adding signs, I can't figure out how they get to do that. I'd be a little worried, but this one's in
I
a,
thought is there a proposed sign at the front, or is it?
no, it's,
halfway back?
well, down.
It's way in the back.
It's way in
Yeah,
the
right on the
back.
map, right here.
I thought they were proposing it here
Yeah, I saw something, that even the plans that were online just weren't clear, and because if they were in the front, it would.
We've been talking about this for several weeks,
Oh, right, yeah.
and I still thought it was,
I thought it was
I
right
thought it was
here.
gonna be proposed
And-
right
and if it
there,
happened,
so
it
that
wouldn't
people
be-
would know
In
that
that case,
it's,
it wouldn't be 15 feet off the
right,
edge of the road.
right.
yeah,
Well,
so,
it would need to be set
yeah.
back the right
So Chris, what
distance.
makes you think it's there?
Because it says proposed.
Oh, it's right by the ramp.
Yeah.
You see the render, yeah, so, I can't read it, so, all right. Is everybody, are we in favor of this? Are we opposed to this? Do we have any opinion on this?
I'm in favor.
Oh, why don't you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend the variance 19-17.
Here I hear a second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor? Wasn't sure where that was going for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I'd try a different cadence. All right, you can tell I'm suffering from sleep deprivation. And board signatures. That's it. All right, who wants to bring us home? Oh, Steph, do you have anything else?
I don't,
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Easton. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
I told my kids I'd be home around 8:30, they're gonna be disappointed.